Lately, I've been noticing so many people getting into cozy hobbies. And honestly, I get it. They're a nice way to spend less time doom scrolling and more time doing something you actually enjoy. One cozy hobby that I've been doing for the past few years is cross stitching. I love it because it doesn't take a lot of mental energy, it's repetitive, relaxing, and I don't have to be creative since I'm just following a pattern. It's also perfect to do while listening to a podcast or watching a show. So I decided to start a series all about learning how to cross stitch. I'll walk you through everything from start to finish so you can complete your first project. I'm definitely not an expert, but I've been cross stitching for a few years and have learned a lot along the way. Here are a few of the projects I've completed over the years. Let's start with the basic supplies you'll need. First, you'll need a pattern. I found all of mine on Etsy. They go on sale pretty often, and there's usually a coupon code floating around too. One tip when choosing a pattern is to watch out for AI-generated ones. They're definitely doable, but they tend to have a lot of color changes every few stitches, which can make cross-stitching feel less relaxing. Next, you'll need Ida cloth, which is the fabric you stitch on. I usually buy mine from Michaels. I swear they always have a 30% off coupon that I like to use. I like using DMC Charles Craft Ida because I find it really easy to work with. Ida also comes in different counts. The count refers to how many stitches fit into 1 inch of fabric. A lower count means bigger stitches and a larger finished piece, while a higher count means smaller stitches and more detail in a smaller space. Most patterns use 14 count, and that's personally all I've used so far. It also comes in different colors so you can find one that fits your project. Next, you'll need embroidery floss. I mostly use DMC floss because it's easy to find and work with. I did accidentally buy some off-brand floss from Facebook Marketplace, and while it still works, I definitely prefer DMC. You'll also need fabric scissors to cut your Ida and your floss. If you like to print your pattern like I do, you'll also need a marker to cross off the sections you've already completed. Some people use apps instead, which you can definitely look into, but I personally find that more confusing. Next, you'll need needles. Either tapestry or embroidery needles work. For cross-stitch, tapestry needles are actually better because they have a blunt tip, so you're not constantly poking your fingers. I've been using embroidery needles this whole time, and I can confirm I've poked myself way too many times with them. And finally, you'll need something to measure with, like a ruler or measuring tape. Those are the basics you need to get started. Now let's talk about some nice-to-haves that aren't necessary, but can make things easier. First is a hoop. They come in different sizes and help keep your fabric taut, which makes stitching easier. I actually didn't use a hoop for the first few years. I just held my project while I stitched, like this. I still do this with larger projects because I'm too scared that the hoop will mess up the stitches if I put it over an area that I've already done. Next is a floss organizer with bobbins. I used to throw all my floss in a basket and kept it together like this, which worked for a while, but once my collection grew, it was harder to keep track of all of the colors I owned. I now use bobbins, and while plastic ones are nicer, the cardboard ones are way cheaper and still do the job. Another nice to have is an embroidery stand. It holds your hoop for you and lets you stitch with both hands. I also found it helped a lot with my back and shoulder pain while I was stitching for long periods. I used to have a floor stand that was nice when I was cross-stitching on the couch, but now I mostly cross-stitch in bed, so I bought this one that you can sit on. Next is a needle minder. This helps you keep track of your needle so you don't lose it. Before I had one, I would just stick my needle into the fabric like this, which honestly still works fine. You might also want small embroidery scissors. You can use your fabric scissors, but the smaller ones give you a lot more control when trimming threads. And lastly, a clipboard can be really helpful if you're using a printed pattern, especially if you're stitching on the couch or in bed like I usually do. And that's everything you need and a few extras to get started with cross-stitching. You'll need a few different supplies when it comes to framing, but I'll cover that in another video. Next up, I'll be walking you through how to actually start your first project. Thanks for watching and happy stitching!